guys, welcome back to Hack and Splash Page. I'm Tiffany. Before we get into today's comic, I have a couple of things I want to talk to you guys about. First of all, I want to apologize for not having an episode for you last week, and also for my lack of commenting on the episode Nameless. As some of you guys might know, Danielle from Bonus Round and other Little House stuff and I were designing the Weekly Pull website and forums. So last week when we launched, we were spending most of the week making sure everything was working, pulling various ropes and switching levers, that behind the scenes kind of stuff, that's how websites work, right? Secondly, I want to congratulate Sal, Ben, and Ethan on their 52nd episode of Back Issues this week. Great job, guys, it's amazing. Also, while all the guys are integral to the shows, I realized when I was thinking about it this week that on top of all the other shows that they put out, Sal's to sit down and has edited 52 episodes of Back Issues. So my hat off to you, sir. This show is half the length of Back Issues, so I can't even imagine having edited 52 of those. Anyway, here's to celebrating 52 episodes down and a new 52 in the coming year. Wait, no. Sal hates that whole thing. Just forget I said anything. Lastly, I just want to say a quick thanks to anyone who's ever commented on a video, written a letter, or even sent a package to TV Little House. Seriously, you guys are amazing. But in particular, I want to thank Jeff Batista for sending me not only the issues 1 through 6 of The Wake, which by the way I cannot wait to do a hack and splash on, but for our book for today, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, number 1. I was floored when the guys called me in during Letters page to give me these books. Honestly, completely astounded. Thank you so much. So let's talk about what happened in issue 1. We start by meeting Edward Spellman on October 31st, 1951, 1 year after his daughter's birth. That's right, this is a period piece. Also, if the cover hadn't already done such a great job of letting us know that this was a darker version of Sabrina than we might be used to, the first page introduces Edward as a magic user who's fairly comfortable with conjuring Satan, I guess on a kind of regular basis. I don't really think that was in the ABC show. Anyway, he's joined shortly by his sisters Hilda and Zelda and their coven, who are there to take Sabrina from her magical father and her non-magical mother Diana, who isn't too keen on the idea and flees with the baby. They're witches, so it really doesn't take them very long to catch up to her, and for Sabrina to end up in her aunt's arms. Her mother threatens to expose the order and ends up being put into a clinic for the mentally unwell. One of those places? After Edward does something magically to her brain. We time jump to Sabrina's 6th birthday and we kind of find out just how powerful she can be, and also discover that her father has been away. Anyway, on her birthday we meet another familiar character, Salem. Just see what I did there? 'Cause he's her familiar? Yeah, never mind. Anyway, Salem's Sabrina's talking cat, and in the show, half the time it was an adorable real cat, and the other time it was kind of this off-putting puppet thing. Wasn't good. It was not good. Over the passage of time, we learn that Sabrina attends a magic school where they're not too keen on her mixed blood, although her aunts seem to be kind of keeping that from her. I'm not really certain about that. We also find out that her aunts are very protective of her, and that they're going to end up moving to Greendale where Sabrina will attend a public school, and her aunts are going to keep up with her magical training. By the summer of '64, Sabrina is 13, and her cousin Ambrose comes to live with her and her aunts. And he's from the old country, aka England, or at least that's my understanding of it. He's a full-blood warlock, and he has 2 snake familiars. Ambrose knows quite a bit about magic and strikes me as kind of a typical 60s teen in a way. And actually, he's willing to help Sabrina out with a crush that she's developed at school. Harvey Kinkle is another name I recognize and is the object of Sabrina's affection, but is also desired by Rosalind, a high school girl. Ambrose helps Sabrina craft a honey jar spell, which will help to attract Harvey to her if he has any feelings for her at all. It ends up working and Harvey asks her out on a date. Look, stay with me folks, I know this sounds like a typical high school drama, but trust me it's not. The last few pages of the story focus on 2 teenage witches who have summoned a succubus in order to settle a rivalry between the 2 of them. It goes awry and they swear to never tell anyone that they let loose a succubus. Not even Archie. While the 2 girls left the succubus wandering around the forest, we're left knowing that she has some severe memory loss. However, she remembers 2 names, Edward and Diana, and that she was betrayed. Let's talk about the writing. Usually I use the author's last name, but I really don't want to butcher it any more than I might already have, so I'm going to go by his first name. So, Roberto hits all the right notes here for me. The story has this familiar feel to it, and therefore it kind of keeps you off guard to any looming danger that might be ahead. The dialogue really fits the characters. Like, any of the over-the-top, dark, magical style bits spoken by Hilda or Zelda feels really natural. Meanwhile, any of the 60s lingo tossed out by Sabrina or Ambrose totally fits for them. And while I'm aware that this is a period piece, I don't really feel like they're hitting us over the head with the 60s. Overall, he's done a really good job of taking a story that we already were aware of and moved it to this darker place where it doesn't feel like it's out of place and almost as though it was meant to be here. As for the art, Hack does a crazy great job on this. His work has this great retro feel to it, and the fact that he's like a one-stop shop of line art, inks, and colors makes it super cohesive. His lines are organic and they have a really great flow to them. I'm like 95% certain that he uses traditional medium for his work, and if I'm correct, it makes it really easy to forgive any time that a character might look strange in a panel. Because let's face it, there's no Control-Z in painting. His use of colors and heavy black ink lend itself beautifully to the horror genre, as does his overall treatment and the textures he creates with the paint and the medium itself. Also, Hack's the one doing most of the covers, and I absolutely love the one with the die cut and the interior image. You know me, I love when a book's cover matches the interior art, so I was really excited to see that. Here's what I think was great about this book. The first issue covers the early years of Sabrina's life and provides a really strong backstory and exposition for the rest of the story. Since I already had kind of a familiarity with Sabrina Spellman, the Spellman family, even some of the lore, it was kind of a great gateway for me into the book. Even though it may not have gone the way that I'm used to it going, it did help me along the journey. Okay, here's what I think is not so great about this book. This book, issue 1, came out in October 2014. It's now February 2015, and there's no issue 2. I did some digging, and it seems that Archie Comics hasn't really made this book a priority, so it's kind of fallen to the wayside. I looked up Hack himself, and he's been doing covers for other books. What's strange about that is that covers for issues 1 through 5 for Sabrina were posted back in September of 2014. What's even stranger is that you could still go onto the Archie Comics website and subscribe to a year's subscription to Sabrina, even though they don't have any release date for issue 2 on the site, at least not one that I could find. Other comic book retailers have put the release date for issue 2 at April 2015, but the fact is that release date's already been pushed back a couple of times, so it's kind of hard to judge at this point. They also have a release date for issue 4, but not issue 3, so that's weird in and of itself. But another thing to note is that issue 1 sold so well that it had to be sent back for a second printing. So I don't really understand why they're not interested in making the rest of this series happen. In other words, this just kind of sucks. I really want to recommend this book to people, but I don't know the fate of the title. I mean, it's a great nostalgia piece in a sense, but it's also a great horror story, or at least that's where it seems to be going, and I would love to see where it's going. To anyone who's already a fan of this title, I would recommend that you tweet or email Archie Comics and let them know that you don't want the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina to die. In fact, I bet many of you have already done that, but just don't let them forget. Alright guys, here's your question for the week. Considering that this is the darker side of magic, if you weren't born into it, do you think you would begin dabbling in the dark arts if you were given the choice? If not, is there any scenario that might make you change your mind about that? I feel like I would. Like, I totally would. I would definitely bone it up, but I feel like it would be way too attractive for me to pass up. Okay guys, well that's it for this week's Hack and Splash page. Hey, if you haven't yet, I hope you subscribe to the channel and head on over and check out all the rest of our awesome content. And we have a sweet TeePublic store that we've set up where you can get some really cool t-shirts. The link for that is in the description down below. But you know what? Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to reading your comments and hopefully talking with you about Sabrina or if you have any news about it. And if you've read it, let me know. I'd love to hear what you thought about it and the delay on issue 2. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.